恭敬大德圣听，为此法会集结众生，心称妙法轮教导我们如何了生脱死。离苦得乐，殊证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo Tassa, excuse me. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sadanto Suchetoye Allahati San Miao San Buddho Che. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now we see and hear it, and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, all good knowing advisors, welcome back to this week's class, class number 42, as we explore the teachings of the Buddha through the lens of the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra. And today I have something I hope will be very inspiring for everyone, because it's very inspiring for myself, which is giving through the lens of a bodhisattva. So we've gone through most of the instructions of the Buddha that he gave to sound hearers. Who are sound hearers? Sound hearers are people like us, who we learn through hearing, through the ear faculty. And so we've progressed through what we can give, how we can give, how to give, who to give to, the 5 W's, when to give, when is a suitable time to give. And then today we're going to so-called graduate from the giving of the sound hearer level to a different level, which is the level of the bodhisattvas. And the first few slides will still be connected to last week's class, the giving of Dharma, because it's I want people to feel inspired in requesting the Dharma. But after that, we're going to move to a whole totally different realm. Okay, let's recite the Buddha's name. I haven't spoken to anyone since I woke up this morning, and my voice, my throat, I just need to excuse myself to drink some water. Excuse me. Okay. I'm going to invite everyone to join me in putting our palms together as we recite Medicine Master Buddha's name. Namo, quelling disasters, lengthening life, Medicine Master Buddha. Namo, quelling disasters, lengthening life, Medicine Master Buddha. Namo, quelling disasters, lengthening life, Medicine Master Buddha. Namo, quelling disaster, slanting life, medicine master, Buddha. Namo, quelling disaster, slanting life, medicine master, Buddha. Namo, quelling disaster, slanting life, medicine master, Buddha. Namo, quelling disasters, slanting life, medicine master, Buddha. Medicine master does come one, medicine master does come one, medicine master does come one, medicine master does come one. Okay, let's get right into it because today I have a lot of slides. Okay. Before I start, does anyone have any questions, reflections, any thoughts? Yes, no? Okay, I know Tan has asked for some time. She has something she wanted to share, but I don't think she's online. Yeah. If anyone sees her online, just message her and ask her if she still wants to share. Okay, so let's look at giving of Dharma as a continuation from last week. The reason I'm continuing with giving of Dharma is because I want to encourage as many people as possible to request for Dharma, because if you remember from last week, Shufu's comments is how do you the causes and conditions for being able to speak the Dharma is to you have to request for the Dharma first. So if there's someone out there who wishes to speak the Dharma but you don't know how to begin, well, you begin with being able to request. Then when you request the Dharma with a sincere mind, I think then everything falls into place, and then it results in you being a position to speak the Dharma to your friends, to anyone who needs help. So speaking the Dharma doesn't just mean like speaking in the traditional sense. It also means being able to understand the Dharma and apply it in such a way that you're able to help people who need help. So Nagarjuna, which is I introduced Nagarjuna Bodhisattva last week. What he says is the giving of Dharma does not consist solely of words and speech. It consists of constantly employing a pure mind and wholesome thoughts in the offering of instruction to everyone. Just as it is with the giving of material gifts, wherein there is no measure of blessings or virtue associated with it. If one fails to maintain a wholesome mind, so too it is with the giving of Dharma. If one fails to maintain a pure mind and wholesome thoughts, then it is not the case that this actually qualifies as giving of Dharma. So if you want to draw a line, what I mean by draw a line, when I was in school, sometimes the teacher would give us a piece of paper with some drawings on the left. The piece of paper will be separated into two halves, one on the left, one on the right. And then they say, draw a line between the object that has a relationship with each other. So you draw, sometimes the first object may have a relationship with the last object on the right hand side. So if you want to draw a line from here and what we've been discussing about the Dharma, it means that when you request for Dharma, you are planting, you are learning and developing a pure mind. Because that's what you need to be able to speak Dharma effectively. And then he continues by saying, then again, if the speaker of Dharma is able to maintain a pure mind and wholesome thought as he praises the three jewels, opens the door to understanding offenses and blessings, explains the four truths, and thus go about teaching and transforming beings so that they are caused to enter the Buddha path, this does qualify as true and pure Dharma giving. Looked at another way, generally speaking, the Dharma to be given is of two types. The first consists of refraining from afflicting beings, while also maintaining a wholesome mind, kindness, and sympathy. Let's continue. It says, this constitutes the causal basis for the path to Buddhahood. That's how important being able to request for Dharma is. It says, the second consists of contemplating and realizing that all Dharmas are truly empty. This constitutes the causal basis for the path to Nirvana. If, while in the midst of the great assembly, one lets flourish a deeply compassionate mind as one sets forth these two types of Dharma, and if in doing so it is not done for the sake of garnering fame, offerings, or expressions of reverence, this constitutes pure Dharma giving rooted in the Buddha path. Okay, so all of you who have been holding back or I don't know, maybe a bit shy or something about requesting the Dharma, there's no better reason for this. Just look at the first line. This constitutes the causal basis for the path to Buddhahood. Okay, to be able to request for Dharma and then be able to, that makes you be able to understand the Dharma and be able to speak the Dharma, and that is what enables you to become a Buddha, or one of the factors that enables you to end your suffering and come back and help everyone. Ron says, how long do we have to maintain a pure mind before it is considered a pure mind? Well, as long as, how would I say? Okay, I'll repeat Ron's question. How long do we have to maintain a pure mind before it is considered a pure mind? The moment your mind is pure, that's when it's pure. For how long you hold your mind, how sincere you are, how concentrated you are, how pure your intentions are, that's how long your mind is pure. Okay? Okay. What I have next is a few slides from the Pali or the Theravada Sutta called the Nidhi Kanda. I thought of including this as a way to recap what we have learned so far about sound hearer giving. I think I'll just quickly read through this, and if anyone has any questions, you can ask. This is, so the Buddha says, a person stashes a fund away deep underground at the waterline. When a need or duty arises, this will provide for my needs, for my release if I'm denounced by the king, molested by thieves, in case of debt, famine, or accidents. This is the person who's doing the hiding away. This is what he thinks. Then the Buddha says, with aims like this in the world, a reserve fund is stashed away. So you put it away like a reserve fund. Maybe at that time there are no banks, so you put it in the ground. Like a pirate. The pirate buries their treasure. So it says, but no matter how well it's stored, deep underground at the waterline, it won't always serve one's need. The fund gets shifted from its place, or one's memory gets confused, or unseen water serpents make off with it, spirits steal it, or hateful airs run off with it. When one marriage ended, it's totally destroyed. So the Buddha is saying, when you put it in the ground, all these things can happen. But on the flip side, like now I'm not sure if people still bury your valuables. I guess some people still do if you get it by dishonest means, and you can't store it in the bank. But basically, the principle here is if you store it away, it's not benefiting anyone. Okay, that's the main principle. The Buddha continues, but when a man or woman has laid aside a well-stored fund of giving, virtue, restraint, and self-control, with regard to a shrine, the Sangha, a fine individual, guest, mother, father, or elder sibling, that's a well-stored fund. It can't be wrested away. It follows you along. When having left this world for wherever you must go, you take it with you. This fund is not held in common with others and cannot be stolen by thieves. Okay, so the Buddha is saying, if you use your wealth for the following reasons. You share with your family, with your siblings. You make offerings, for example, like to the triple jewel, but not only just material wealth. If you have virtue, meaning you follow the precepts with the intention to benefit living beings, you practice restraint, meaning you don't overindulge, and self-control, then this is a wealth of a different kind. This wealth follows you along. I think it's kind of like if you're when you get reborn, imagine how nice it would be if you were reborn and you had this special ATM card, a bank card with you that has all the blessings from all your previous lives that you can use. Something like that. So, okay. So when you leave this world, then wherever you go, when you appear in that world, you already have your ATM card with you. You don't have to worry about anything at all. Something like that. Okay. So the Buddha says, so prudent, you should make merit. The fun that will follow you along, this is the fun that gives all they want to beings, human and divine. Then the Buddha goes on to praise. He says, whatever devas aspire to, like fine complexion, kingship, to become an emperor, to the last line, it says, even the attainment of unbinding, meaning to get enlightened, is all gained by this. So this is just a summary, so I won't be going through the rest of the slides. If anyone wishes to read this on your own, just you Google Nidhi Kanda and you'll be able to find it on Google. Okay. Now let's go to what Shufu says. He says, I call this continuation of generosity. Shufu's comments from the 10 Dharma realms. Shufu says, when you become enlightened, the dust has thinned out and you can leap out of it. What do you do after leaping out of the dust? Do you just eat, sleep and eat? Well, you still have to sleep, eat and dress, but those aren't the only things you do. You don't live for those 3 matters. Rather, you live in order to cultivate the 6 perfections and 10,000 practices. Okay? So Shufu is speaking about what happens after you get enlightened or awakened. Do you just stop doing everything and being a bum? Shufu says no. Shufu says the 6 perfections are giving, holding precepts, patience, vigor, samadhi, and wisdom. These 6 perfections are also known as the 6 paramitas. There are different versions. There are different, groupings of the paramitas. There's the 6 as well as the 10. And Theravada has, I think, slightly different 10 paramitas than the Great Vehicle or Mahayana 10 paramitas. As we go along for ourselves, we're going to use the 6 paramitas as from the Mahayana, which is giving, holding precepts, etc. And these paramitas actually correspond to the first 6 grounds of the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva on the first ground perfects the paramita of giving. A Bodhisattva on the second ground perfects the paramita of precepts or virtue. And correspondingly up to the 10th ground of the Bodhisattva. So Shufu says, someone says, I know what giving means. It means other people give me things. Shufu is probably making a joke. Shufu says, wrong. You should give to others. You shouldn't want money. Money is the filthiest thing. And if you stay in close proximity to it for long, you will be defiled by it. If you don't want money, then you are very pure and can leap out of the dust. Okay. So in the perfection of giving, Nagarjuna Bodhisattva says the great compassion and the great wisdom of the great beings, 3 greats there, great beings are bodhisattvas, are adorned by giving. It says in return, their giving is adorned and accompanied by loving speech by beneficent conduct, and beneficent conduct by equality of treatment. So now we are getting into the conduct of bodhisattvas. Specifically, specifically a bodhisattva on the first ground. Okay, so we're going to explore this through Nagarjuna's Shastra on the perfection of giving, as well as the Avatamsaka Sutra, the 10 grounds chapter, specifically the first ground. Okay, so the Bodhisattva's first ground is also called the ground of happiness, and the ground of happiness, the first ground I mentioned before, is where the Bodhisattva perfects the paramita of giving, the perfection of giving. Okay, Nagarjuna says, if one is a person of great wisdom or is a gentleman of fine mind, one will be able to awaken and realize that the body is like an illusion, that wealth can never be secure, that the myriad things are all impermanent, and that one can rely only upon one's merit. It is this which has the capacity to pull a person forth from the river of suffering and to open up to the great path. As one turns about in the wheel of cyclic births and deaths, going and coming within the 5 rebirth destinies, there are no family relatives upon whom one can rely. There is only giving. Whether one is born in the heavens or among men, whenever one gains a pure result, it comes forth as a result of giving. Even among elephants, horses, and other animals, they are being provided fine shelter, and nourishment is also something they have gained as a result of giving from a previous life. Okay, he's emphasizing how important giving is. Your relatives can no longer help you when you for your rebirth. It is only the giving that you have practiced. So now he is making a difference between the giving of sound hearers, of regular people, and the giving of sages, of bodhisattvas. He says, giving not done for the sake of beings. If it is not done for the sake of realizing the true character of dharmas, and if it is done solely for the sake of gaining liberation from birth, old age, sickness, and death, this is the dana of the Sravakas. Dana is Sanskrit for giving or generosity, and Sravakas is Sanskrit for sound hearers. Okay, so it says, what do sound hearers, if it says the giving of, it says to know whether your giving is the giving of a bodhisattva or the giving of a sound hearer or regular giving. It says if you are giving not for other people, if you are giving not to realize the true character of dharmas, that means for wisdom, and if you are giving just to end birth, old age, sickness, and death, it says this is the category of sound hearers. It says, then he goes on to say, if one gives for the sake of all beings, and if one does so for the sake of realizing the true character of dharmas, that means your intention, true character of dharmas, meaning your intention is to gain wisdom, to understand the way things are, how karma works, how your mind works. It says, then this is the dana of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, so it's making a distinction between sound hearer giving and bodhisattva giving. It says the bodhisattva is able to give everything, the inward, the outward, that which is major, that which is minor, that which is of greater quantity, that which is of lesser quantity, that which is coarse, that which is refined, etc., etc., that to which he is not attached, that which he uses. He is able to relinquish every sort of objects such as this. Okay. He says his mind has nothing to which it clings with fondness. He gives equally to all beings. So he can be substituted for she. Okay, the pronoun here doesn't really matter. So you just substitute which one you're more comfortable with. He does not engage in such contemplations as this. One should only give to great people and one should not give to lesser people. One should only give to those who have left a home life and one should not give to anyone who has not left behind a home life. One should only give to humans and one should not give to birds or beasts. So a bodhisattva doesn't think that way. A bodhisattva doesn't make distinctions like this person deserves more, this person deserves less, or this person deserves my giving or not. No, to the Bodhisattva, there's no such difference. He sees all living beings as equally able to become Buddhas, and all living beings all have afflictions, and the Bodhisattva's heart is just to help all living beings. Okay. In his practice of giving, he maintains an even-handed and equitable mind toward all beings. When he gives, he does not seek to gain any reward as a result. Moreover, he realizes in accordance with reality the true character of the Dharma of giving. This is what's meant by perfect fulfillment. Okay? I have something that I want to share. Right now, things are not good in Myanmar or Burma, and I'm not sure if people have been following the news. If you look at your screen, there was this nun, I think she's Catholic, a Catholic nun, who she knew that the police were going to harm or kill the protesters. So what she did was she went out, she knelt in front of them, and she said, "Please don't kill them, kill me instead." And that's one example of selfless giving, the inward giving, where even your intention is so is only focused on the people you want to help, to the point where you don't have the usual attachments to what is usually most important to us, which is our body and our lives. So this nun exhibited a real selfless act of giving there, in wanting to protect and help the people that she thought was going to be harmed, or that was going to be harmed. Yeah, there are a lot of people dying right now. Okay, let's get back to slides. Nagarjuna says, additionally, he or she is not constrained by a regard for the time being right. For him, there is no waiting till tomorrow, till evening, till winter, or till summer. There is no time which is auspicious or inauspicious. At all times, he constantly engages in equitable giving, employing a mind free of regrets and free of clinging fondness. He does so even to the point of sacrificing without stint his own head, his eyes, his marrow, and his brain. This is what is meant by perfect fulfillment of Dana Paramita. Okay. And then it says, if one is unable to make one's giving replete with every manner of meritorious quality, but rather desires only to gain a minor measure thereof, this is the Dana of the Shravakas. As opposed to, if one wishes to make it entirely replete with every manner of meritorious quality, this is the Dana of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. This means the intention behind. For example, if you say someone asks a question in WhatsApp about the giving of incense and flowers throughout the 10 Dharma realm, if your intention is to say something like that, what the verse implies, being able to manifest a body throughout the 10 Dharma realms to make offerings to all Buddhas throughout the 10 Dharma realms, then that's how you say it, that is not a minor measure. That is a in Nagarjuna's own words, entirely replete with every manner of meritorious quality. Okay. If one gives out of the fear of old age, sickness, and death, this is the Dana of the Shravakas. If it is done to assist the realization of the Buddha path, which means to gain perfect awakening, if it is done for the sake of transforming beings, and if it is not done out of fear of old age, sickness, and death, this is the Dana of the Bodhi, or the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As for that giving which is performed by the Bodhisattva, it is done with the realization that the act of giving is neither produced nor destroyed. It is conducted in a state which has gone beyond outflow impurities. It is unconditioned and is characterized by being like nirvana. That giving is performed for the sake of all beings. This is giving based on wisdom. This giving is really, really hard to for us to do, but we can come really close. I have but I will explain that in one of the upcoming slides as people who have not crossed the stage to emptiness, how close can we give to the Bodhisattva's pure giving. I will come to that when we have the slide on there's no giver, there's no gift, and there is no receiver. Okay, if I don't, remind me. Oh, we are already there. I thought it was I thought it was going to be a few slides further down, but already there. Okay, it says, if in giving there exist the three hindrances involving the conception of an I who gives, okay, that's the first one. Second one is of an other who receives. Okay, and the third one is of a valuable object which serves as a gift. So what are the three? The three is the person doing the giving, meaning you, the me, all right? The other person who's receiving, that means the recipient, and then the object being given, which is the gift. Okay. So from the perspective of the Bodhisattvas, it says, if you give with these three marks, with these three signs, or these three thoughts, it says, then one falls into a demonic mental state wherein one has not yet left behind multiple difficulties. What does that mean? It's a very strong statement, okay, because we can't help. Honestly, for regular people like us, we can't help but give with the three marks of giver, the giver, the recipient, and the gift. But it says here, one falls into a demonic mental state. And that's a very strong statement. Okay, maybe I should just read the next line, then we revisit this thought. It says, in the case of giving as performed by the Bodhisattva, it is characterized by three kinds of purity, through which there is an absence of these three hindrances, and through which one has succeeded in reaching to the far shore. Okay, going back to the first paragraph, does this mean that our giving is flawed or that we shouldn't give? No, it's not saying that at all. Number one, he is contrasting this with the totally pure giving that a Bodhisattva can give. So this is, instead of looking at it through fear, look at it through encouragement of why we should all strive to become Bodhisattvas, so that we can finally achieve pure giving in all its glory. Okay, that's number one. Number two, why he uses the word demonic mental state? Okay, from a Bodhisattva point of view, in everything that you do, even if it's wholesome, if it's still tainted by the five skandhas, which is form, form, consciousness. Oh my God, why can't I remember the five skandhas? Can someone please help me out? Type it in the chat box so I don't have to look on Google. I should have this memorized, but in my current train of thought, I'll excuse myself. Or what is called the 18 realms. That means the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. As long as we still have that, everything that we do has the karmic seed of bringing us back to rebirth. And from the Bodhisattva's point of view, from a true, pure point of view, anything that has to do with the senses, okay, our six senses, in an extreme way, they sometimes describe it as under demonic influence, under the influence of Mara. It's not that it's really under like Mara or the devil is controlling you, but it's just that those are objects of desire, which are not totally pure in themselves. So every time we do something we create any karmic seed through these five, through the six senses, it still has there are related karmic seeds that will bring us back to rebirth. So that's what it means. Okay, it does not mean that you are demonic. No. Okay, there's a very, very fine but strong distinction there. Okay, form, feeling, connection, formation, and consciousness. Those are the five skandhas. Thank you very much, Gwen. Yeah. Hilda also. Hilda, Ron. Yes, thank you. You guys know a lot better than me. Okay. Okay, you get it? That's when you read Mahayana text, okay, because Mahayana text is spoken to bodhisattvas, usually people who have a different level of wisdom than ours. And when they refer to, in these instances, when it talks about demonic or under the influence of Mara, this is what it means. Okay, it doesn't mean we don't do any giving or we are or to make us afraid of giving. No, the Buddha has given us so many ways to learn how to give for people at our level. Because it is through that giving that this first paragraph describes that we actually can accomplish the pure giving of bodhisattvas. Okay, there's nothing to fear or to be worried about. It is meant to be inspirational for us to say, it's like a first grader you are inspiring a first grader to go all the way to university so that they can graduate and they can do greater things than what a first grader or someone in the first year of school can achieve. Something like that. All right? Okay. Okay. So now we are exploring the Avatamsaka Sutra, or the Flower Adornment Sutra. And this is the first ground. This is the 10 grounds chapter. When we are in the first ground. And who is speaking right now in this? Because there are various people who speak throughout the sutra. It's such a long sutra. This current section is spoken by Vajra Treasury Bodhisattva. And the opening of this chapter opens this way. It says, at that time, the world-honored one, meaning Shakyamuni Buddha, was in the royal palace in the heaven of the comfort from others' transformations. That means he's in one of, I think this is the highest form heaven. In the hall of treasuries and money jewels. So they have apparently different halls there, and this hall that the Buddha was in is called the hall of treasuries or money jewels, together with a gathering of great bodhisattvas. So this is the audience in that heaven. Okay, so that's why I say bear in mind that a lot of this was spoken to great bodhisattvas. So Vajra Treasury Bodhisattva is going to speak about bodhisattvas on the first ground. But interestingly, and at least for me, before he does that, he speaks about who is the person that becomes a first stage bodhisattva. And I find it interesting because that's all of us. If you ever had the intention or the wish or even the idea of wanting to be a bodhisattva, he's now telling us what kind of person becomes a bodhisattva. Okay, so are you all ready to take notes? Okay. So what kind of person becomes a bodhisattva? You already see on your screen, it says disciples of the Buddha. Suppose they are living beings who have planted good roots, well cultivated all practices, well accumulated aids to the way, well made offerings to all Buddhas, well collected white pure dharmas, been well gathered by good and wise advisors, have purified deep thought, have established great resolutions, have brought forth vast great understanding, have manifested kindness and compassion. Okay, not so easy, right? Okay, but we just try our best. We can only do our best. That's the only thing we can do. We can't do more than what we can do. So as long as we try our best, we'll get there. So why would a person do all this? Okay, what is the intention or motivation behind what you see on the screen right now, doing all these great things? Okay, Vajra Treasury Bodhisattva explains that a person does all this in order to seek the wisdom of the Buddhas, in order to obtain the 10 powers, in order to obtain the great fearlessnesses, yes, in order to obtain the Buddha's dharmas of equality, in order to rescue all those in the world, in order to purify great kindness and compassion, in order to obtain the wisdom without residue on the 10 powers, in order to purify all Buddha lands without obstruction, in order to know all the 3 periods of time in a single thought, and in order to turn the great Dharma wheel without fear. So this is the motivation or the intention behind all this. And if you explore further, if you want to study more on your own, you realize that all this intentions all have to do with helping people. There's no thought of, oh, I'm going to be so great if I get the wisdom of the Buddhas. No. It's like, oh, with the wisdom of the Buddhas, I'm going to be able to help so many other living beings. Okay. Ron asks, what does being well gathered? Well, let me see. Is there a slide previously that there is well gathered? Just let me take a minute and see. Okay, maybe not right now, Ron. But the previous slide? Okay, let me see. Being well gathered by good and wise advisors. Okay, this is the usual context. Being well gathered is used in, meaning you are positively influenced. So say if Shufu was around and he's speaking the Dharma, and either you know of Shufu's story, reputation, or you hear his voice, or you're interested in the Dharma, you come in, you listen, and then you observe Shufu's conduct, the way he speaks, and you are drawn in. Something happens that enables you to become compliant. Your mind becomes soft. You become open to advice, to instruction. You become open to the idea of improving yourself, to discover the potential that you have in you for wisdom, for kindness, for compassion. That's what it means to be gathered in. So when you meet someone and you are able to have that person, to open up your senses to that person and be able to discover and change in yourself for the better, that's what it means to be gathered in. Okay. Okay, let me explain the third sentence in the last slide, the great fearlessnesses. What are the 5 fears? We've covered this in the previous session. The 5 fears are the fear of not staying alive, dying, a fear of bad reputation, a fear of evil destinies, and a fear of the assembly's awesome virtue. Okay, that's the 5 fears. I realized I need to go back a bit because I did not explain the part about how we can get close to the Bodhisattva's pure giving. I'm sorry. Let me get to that slide again. Okay, this is the slide. The 3 hindrances. Okay, I promise I'll talk about how close can we get to the giving of the Bodhisattvas. Okay, what does this mean at our level when it says there's no giver, there's no object being given, and there's no recipient receiving the gift? Okay, well, practically speaking, okay, pragmatically, for us it means when we give, we learn how to give without expectations. Meaning, after we give, no matter how the person reacts, the person, okay, let me say it again. After giving, no matter how the person reacts, it does not affect how we feel. So we just give and we forget about it. So if the person gets upset, say, oh, why do you give me this? This is not the exact thing I asked for. Like some spoiled children, you give them what they want and then they get angry because it's not the color that they want, or not the flavor that they want or something. I know because I was one of those ungrateful children. Because you are the giver, you are able to rationalize it. Oh, well, I tried my best, and obviously, you wanted something different. Well, what can I do? I tried my best. You have that. You do whatever it takes in order for you, after the act of giving, to be, that's it. Okay, so you give without expectations of the other person. You don't need the other person to feel grateful. You don't need the other person to say thank you. You don't need the other person to make you feel good other than the act of giving itself. So that's one way, okay, that you can give without the receiver. Okay, number one. You give, to be able to give without the gift. When you give the gift, your intention is just to help. Your mind does not dwell on how valuable the gift is, or how rare the item is, or how difficult it is to come by, or all those things about the gift. How beautiful the gift is, or how nice it look next to your bed, or whatever it is. No. Instead, you concentrate your thoughts into thinking about how suitable the gift can be, and then you just give it away. So you're not attached to the item itself. It's just an item. Okay. And the third one is you give without the ego. So after you give, you don't go and congratulate yourselves and feel so good about yourself, like, oh, you just did this great act of sacrifice or generosity. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas should be very proud of you. You don't. You just give, and if you feel good about yourself, you don't. It's natural to feel good, okay? But you don't develop those thoughts into more thoughts. You just let those thoughts come and just let those thoughts go. You don't get attached to your thoughts. Okay. You might be thinking right now, it's pretty hard to do that. Yes, it is. It takes a bit of practice. So the more you practice, the more you give, the more we use the intention where our concern for other people is real, and we start thinking less and less about ourselves, the more a habit it becomes. Okay? And when it becomes more and more of a habit, what happens? It becomes more and more spontaneous. What are spontaneous things? Spontaneous things, you just do it and then you forget about it. Like opening the door for someone, you walk in behind someone, they drop something, and then you just, without thinking, okay, that's spontaneous. Without thinking, you just pick it up and give it to the person, and you just walk away. And so spontaneous things are things that after you do, you forget that you've done it. And sometimes something happens, and then you get reminded, oh yeah, I did that. Like, how many of you have remembered all these small acts of kindness that you've done? No. But when you do something really great, you help someone, you donate money to the temple and all that, you keep on thinking about it. But what the teachings are trying to tell us is that the more you think about it, the more you diminish the merit that comes from the act of generosity. So which is why I say understanding how the Bodhisattvas are able to do pure giving is actually very inspiring, because the giving there's nothing that taints or lessens the merit of that giving, as opposed to how, when we do something really great, which we want all the merit, we kind of sabotage ourselves by thinking how great that giving is. So the way our mind works is contrary to the act of giving itself. But we can come close. Okay, like I said, I think we can also be able to give, like, as long as it's spontaneous, then I believe that's very, very close or similar to how a bodhisattva may give. But it can only come with practice, where your whole personality is just, you see someone that needs help, you just go help, and that's it. You don't think too much before, during, or after, other than how best you can help. Okay, is that clear? All right. Is Tan with us today? Tan.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see you earlier, and I
Yes,
wasn't sure.
I've been late with 10 minutes. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so are you ready to share what you wanted to share?
Yes, if you have some time, then I'm fine.
Okay, technically we only have 8 minutes left according to my
Otherwise
clock.
we can put it next time. That's fine. Or just share one story.
Okay, you want to share one, and then you can continue next week?
Yep,
How about
that's
that?
fine. Yes,
Okay.
that's good. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll just move the slide back to the last slide. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Firstly, I would like to thank you, Dharma Master, for explaining and in depth and in depth about Medicine Master Buddha Sutra and others dhammas related to this. And I really want to share that it's really true what the vows that Medicine Master Buddha made in the sutra, written in the sutra, is just as such. So I just want to share my life experience regarding this, mostly regarding the seventh vow of the Medicine Master Buddha, where he said in general that whoever is just stricken by sickness has no one to turn to without doctor, medicine, or relative, etc. Upon hearing his name, only by passing through his ears, they will be peaceful and happy in body and mind. And actually, because we have short times, I just go with a short one. I think in December, not last year or year before, one of my friends, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and because she has to work and always family had to take care of, etc. And when she learned about that, she couldn't sleep for months. And then she heard of friends who advised her to read the Dhamma flower lotus sutra. And then she rang me and said, Tan, some of my friends advised me to read this, so to help with my sickness. Is that right? I said, I don't know about that, but what I know is, that there is a sutra named Medicine Master Buddha sutra. And whoever have sicknesses and severe or not severe, but if single-mindedly and faithfully reciting his name, then things really can happen, for him or for her. So I said, I don't have that sutra. I don't know how to recite. Can you tell me how to do? So I just tell her, to borrow a sutra, and she borrowed from me. So I pass on to her. I just tell her, she just can try to read, just roughly read. She doesn't have to recite because she never know how to recite before. So just read through and roughly. And if she can, recite the Medicine Master Buddha mantra. If not, then just his name. Depends on how she can deal with, that unknown, Dhamma matter, because she's not a practicer Buddhist, but just, time to time recite Kuan Yin. So then she came, she got the sutra, go home, and then she did, her best. And 2 days later, she rang me. Tan, I tried to read the sutra. It's so hard to understand. Even though the words, the Vietnamese word were quite simple, or not too sophisticated in the sutra. because someone who never read a sutra, even simple word is hard to understand. Even the word Dharma, which you don't know what is it, the title of Buddha, she wouldn't know what it is. But anyway, that's why she said it's so hard to read. But she did her best until 1 a.m. morning, after coming from work and do the household things for husband and children. Anyway, she managed to did her best until 1 a.m. until she couldn't take it anymore. She just fall asleep. And then the morning after waking up, her husband said, I never heard you snore like this before. And my husband told me that she said, and she said, and she did feel like so good deep sleep, like ever before, when she couldn't sleep for months. That's one case. And another person also couldn't sleep, has to take sleeping pills for many years. And so I also, advising, to read the mantra, just read roughly, or at least, read the Buddha, the medicine master Buddha name. And also on the spot, not on the spot, but, the night after, just sleep through, like they never slept before. So this is short stories that I want to share for today. That is really, as the medicine master Buddha said, open hearing only his name, and things can happen like that. My friend who got cancer, actually she doesn't have after has had a few treatment, the cancer is gone, doesn't have cancer anymore, and she keep reciting the medicine master mantra and name as well. So that's a short story for today.
Oh, thank
The
you.
longer one, even amazing, because it's about someone who is Spanish, an old lady, Spanish, and couldn't understand Vietnamese or English. So this one just kept there for another time, because that one tiny bit longer.
Okay, we'll keep that for next week. So all of you, if you want to share Tan's story, please don't go and tell people. If you want to sleep, go read the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra. Okay, don't frame it that way. All right, just say if you're sick and you need help, you might want to try exploring the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra. We have 2 minutes left. I was thinking of sharing something about an act of giving. Okay, let me change my Zoom settings so that I can optimize for video and I can share sound. Okay, this is called serving free food.
Sohail is my brother. If someone says, I need a free meal, okay? We have now so many there are like a regular, guest. So we know them what they want to eat. Some of them, they have teeth problem, and we give them just boneless chicken, tender one. The alcohol and those drugs and mix, a lot of people had teeth problem. Once upon a time, I was in a similar situation where I didn't have enough money to eat for next day. Pass by a restaurant, but never be able to go in. Because when you don't have money, nobody's going to let you in. I'm trying to worship our Creator through food. Because people have fear. A lot of homeless people, they have mental issue, they have health issue, they are not dirty, they are not clean, and if you let them come in, they will ruin your business. But I tell them, those people, look at my life and look at my restaurant. If this look dirty to you, and I want people to not have fear, loving others and caring for others and sharing, because it's going to bring a joy to your life. Because when you uplift another human being, it's a beautiful thing.
Okay, so I like the part where he says he tries to cook according to the say some people have problems chewing. He doesn't get upset with them. Doesn't say, oh, because you've done this to yourself or anything. Instead, he only wants his intention is really pure. He only wants to help people and give something suitable that they can use. How nice is that? And someone like that, how does he sleep at night? Okay, let's do dedication of merit. Okay, everyone ready? May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, let's do 3 vows. I just saw a question. Grant is asking what is meant by clinging to fondness with respect to giving. Clinging to fondness with... I think it's just saying being attached to the good feelings that you get when you give. So when you give something and you keep on thinking about how good you are when you give, or how good the act of giving makes you feel, it's fine to feel that way. Okay, if giving makes you feel good and you want to give more, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, I just want everyone to know that whatever encourages you to give, that's good. That's a very positive thing. But the goal, if you want to be like a bodhisattva, now we know how a bodhisattva can give. And if your intention is to eventually become a bodhisattva, then now we know how we can gradually train ourselves. But for someone who's new to giving, we wouldn't want them to give like a bodhisattva. Why? Because it makes no sense. They haven't, even before they experience the joys of giving, you want them to not have any joy. That doesn't make sense at all. You just discourage them because the teaching will not be appropriate for them. I hope everyone understands. We are all at different levels. Some people have given for many, many, many lifetimes, and then when they hear about how the bodhisattva gives, instantly their heart gets inspired and they just want to do that. Some people have not, as we've seen in the stories that the Buddha has given us. Some people have been stingy their whole lives. So, being able to gather joy and fondness and feel good about giving, that's a good thing. Like the video that we just saw. If that shop owner wants to feel good, of course, he has every right to feel good. If it makes him become a better father, sleep better at night and all that, that's all very good. Okay? So we all just... it's all very personal. Okay, practice is very personal. You have to first look at your intentions, the vows that you make or that you want to make, and then you practice accordingly to what you want, to your goal and what you want out of your practice. Okay, so sharing the Bodhisattva's way of giving, which we haven't finished, by the way, we'll continue next week, isn't to say that our giving is flawed. No, it just gives us a way to understand how great Bodhisattvas are able to give. And if any one of us has the same aspirations or goals to go towards the Bodhisattva path, it gives us a way to examine our own giving and to fine-tune ourselves step by step. Okay, step by step, that's the keyword. All right, let's make our bows to the Buddha. 3 bows to the Buddha. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Bowing respect to the Venerable Master. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Okay, everyone, we'll see you next week, and we also have time to continue her third story. And anyone else, you have anything related to giving, any videos or anything, you can share. Either share with group, or you're not sure, you can send it to me first, or do whatever you feel comfortable. Okay, Amitabha. Bye, everyone.